Ethan stared at the smiling figure pressing against the wooden door while dark, ink-like shadows dripped from its mouth. Mira's reflection whispered using Ethan's own voice. "You forgot her once already." The candles around the room flickered wildly as the symbols carved into the walls glowed brighter red. The entire house groaned deeply as though something ancient beneath it had awakened. Then suddenly, Grace began laughing. Soft at first, tired, almost hopeless. But the laughter slowly changed into something unnatural. Ethan turned toward her slowly. Lena stepped backward in fear as shadows moved strangely beneath Grace's skin. Her appearance began shifting like a distorted reflection. Her face blurred. Her shape grew taller, and within seconds, the old woman standing before them was gone. In her place stood the man from the road. The same man who greeted them when they entered town. The same man Jonah once saw in the diner hallway. Ethan felt cold all over. "No," the man smiled calmly. "I wondered how long it would take you to notice." His voice sounded ancient, deep, calm, like the town itself speaking through him. Lena stared in horror. "Who are you?" The man looked around the room almost lovingly while black rain hammered against the windows. "I am the founder," he whispered. Instantly, the smiling figure at the door vanished. The scratching outside stopped. The entire house fell silent, as if everything inside it feared him. Ethan clenched his fists. "You created this place?" The founder's expression darkened slightly. "No," he whispered. "I saved it." Lightning flashed outside, and suddenly the room changed. The walls dissolved into light. The storm disappeared, and Ethan found himself standing in the town as it once was. Warm sunlight filled the streets. People laughed. Children ran through the roads. Church bells rang peacefully. No black rain, no faceless figures, no mirrors, just a normal town. Lena looked around in disbelief. "What is this?" "Memory," the founder answered quietly. His appearance looked younger now, almost human. "My town." Then the scene shifted instantly. Fire erupted across the church. People screamed. Smoke filled the sky. Ethan watched firefighters dragging bodies from the burning building while rain poured heavily around them. Then he saw the founder kneeling beside a covered body near the church steps. "My wife died there," the founder whispered. His voice cracked slightly. "She was pregnant." The memory shifted again. Now they stood inside a hidden underground chamber beneath the church. Hundreds of mirrors surrounded a gigantic black pit in the center of the room. Symbols covered every wall, and deep inside the pit, something moved, like a living shadow breathing beneath the earth. "I was terrified of forgetting her face," the founder whispered. "Grief destroys memory." The mirrors around the chamber suddenly lit up, showing fragments of his life. A woman smiling, her hand touching his face. An ultrasound picture, happy memories frozen forever. "So I searched for a way to preserve memory permanently," he continued. Then the black pit opened. A gigantic eye formed slowly within the darkness. Watching them, ancient, hungry. Lena screamed softly. The founder stared into it with hollow sadness. "It promised me eternity." The eye blinked, and I was foolish enough to believe it. Suddenly they were back inside the house of forgotten faces. Black rain slammed against the windows again. The hollow remained behind Mira, inside the reflection world, still waiting. Then Ethan understood. The town itself wasn't alive. Something beneath it was, and the founder had fed people to it for decades. "You murdered everyone," Ethan whispered. The founder looked offended. "No," he replied calmly. "I preserved them." The walls around the room filled instantly with moving faces, thousands of them, crying, screaming, whispering, every victim the town had ever taken. "They remain here forever," the founder whispered proudly. Lena shook violently. "You're insane." The founder stared at her sadly. "No," he whispered. "I'm lonely." Then his eyes shifted toward Lena. Black liquid suddenly exploded upward from the floor. Hands grabbed Lena instantly. She screamed as they wrapped around her legs and dragged her toward the giant mirror, rising slowly behind the founder. "Ethan," the founder smiled softly. "She will do nicely." Ethan lunged toward her instantly, but the founder raised one hand, and Ethan flew backward across the room, smashing violently into the wall. Pain exploded through his ribs. Lena screamed again as the mirror swallowed half her body. "Please." The founder stepped closer to her peacefully. "The town will remember you forever." Then Ethan heard a familiar voice beside him. "Sophie, get up." Ethan looked down at a broken shard of glass beside the wall. Sophie stared back at him from the reflection. Not twisted, not monstrous. "Real. You know what this place feeds on," she whispered. Ethan coughed painfully. "Fear," he breathed. "And guilt," Sophie replied softly. Then she whispered, "It cannot consume people who forgive themselves." The founder's expression changed instantly. Fear. Real fear. Well, Ethan remembered everything. The accident, Sophie's death, the years he blamed himself, the guilt that followed him into the town. But for the first time, he realized it wasn't his fault. And the moment he accepted that truth, the house screamed. Every mirror shattered at once. Black cracks spread across the founder's skin. The hollow roared in pain. Ethan stood slowly while the whispers inside his head vanished completely. The founder stared at him in horror. "You let go," he whispered. The black hands dragging Lena began burning away into smoke. The mirror rejected her. Ethan grabbed Lena and pulled her free while the founder screamed violently. His human appearance tore apart completely. Beneath it, there was almost nothing left, just darkness wearing the shape of a man. "You don't understand," he roared. The entire town shook violently outside. If this place dies, so do they. Faces erupted across the walls, thousands of trapped souls crying out together. The founder looked terrified now. They'll disappear forever. Then Sophie appeared beside Ethan inside the reflection, quietly. "No," she whispered softly. "They'll finally be free." The hollow screamed as the town began collapsing. Buildings twisted apart, mirrors exploded across the streets. Black rain poured harder than ever. The founder lunged toward Ethan with monstrous speed, but Lena grabbed Ethan's hand, and together, they ran. They burst out of the collapsing house into the nightmare outside. The town twisted unnaturally around them. Streets cracked open. Faceless people wandered through the storm screaming forgotten names. The church bell rang endlessly, while the sky itself seemed to split apart. Then ahead of them, the road appeared, a long, empty highway cutting through the darkness. "The exit! Run!" Lena screamed, but the town fought back. Mirrors erupted from the ground around them, showing horrifying visions. Ethan dying, Lena trapped forever. Sophie blaming him, Mira screaming from inside the reflection world, the founder smiling beside them. "Stay," the reflections whispered. "Forget." Lena nearly stopped. The mirrors showed her deepest fears. Being alone, being forgotten. Ethan grabbed her face gently. "Look at me." Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I'm scared." "So am I," he whispered. The road behind them began vanishing. Then the founder emerged from the storm behind them, now massive and inhuman. His body stretched across the entire street made from mirrors, screaming faces, and black liquid. "You belong to me." The hollow rose behind him even larger than before, while the storm bent around its body. Ethan looked toward the dying town. Then softly he whispered, "I remember you." Light exploded across the town instantly. Every mirror shattered. The founder screamed as cracks spread across his monstrous body. The hollow tore apart. Faces escaped from its skin like stars rising into the night. Thousands of voices cried out together, not in pain, but relief. The road brightened. Ethan and Lena ran. As they crossed onto the highway, the entire town collapsed inward behind them like a dying dream. Buildings vanished, streets dissolved. The church bell stopped, and then silence. Ethan woke beneath warm sunlight. He gasped sharply and sat upright in a field of tall grass. Real birds sang nearby. Real wind moved through the trees. Lena lay beside him, breathing shakily. The moment they looked at each other, they both began crying. They held each other tightly while sunlight warmed their skin. The town was gone. Months passed afterward. Ethan and Lena tried rebuilding their lives without their friends. Some nights were harder than others. Sometimes Ethan heard whispers in empty rooms. Sometimes Lena avoided mirrors completely. But slowly, life returned. Then one evening, nearly a year later, Ethan stood outside watching the sunset. The sky burned orange and gold. Beautiful, peaceful. Then Ethan noticed a figure standing far across the field. His breath caught. Mira and Jonah. They stood motionless beneath the fading sunlight, smiling softly. Ethan stepped forward slowly. Mira, Jonah? Wind moved through the grass, and she vanished. Gone. Then, from inside the house, Ethan heard his name. Ethan turned toward the window, and his reflection smiled at him, even though he didn't.